Hello, and welcome to Discovering Shared Solutions, a workshop designed to assist parents, educators, and students with options in preventing conflicts and quickly resolving those that surface. This workshop is presented by the Learning Disabilities Association of Sudbury. Our workshop's content is based on the Ministry of Education's Shared Solution document, available at the Ministry of Education's website, www.edu.gov.on.ca. To support the following training modules, please consider downloading the Shared Solutions document or acquire a hard copy from either your child's school office or through the Ontario Ministry of Education's Publications link. This guide addresses conflicts affecting students with special education needs and is intended to help parents, educators, and students to work together to prevent conflicts and to quickly resolve any that surface. In this presentation, we will utilize a visual puzzle metaphor while we focus on providing key information about understanding conflict, preventing conflict, and resolving conflict. By reviewing the document, Shared Solutions, the intention is that you will enhance your advocacy skills as you piece together the connections that support your child's success. Let us begin with an introduction module to Shared Solutions. We hope that by the end of this module, you will have acquired a greater understanding of the following concepts: commonly used terms that we will be referencing throughout our workshop, and the roles and responsibilities of both the parents, educators, and school officials. We will then end this module with a brief ongoing activity. As this is an interactive presentation, we recommend that you have a pen and paper readily available to participate in our activities, designed to engage you and to assist your learning experience. When conflicts surface in education, we each contribute vital pieces to solving any puzzling conflicts. It is by working together to find the connections between the puzzle pieces that we can foster student success and prevent conflicts. Throughout this presentation, and within the Ministry of Education's Shared Solution Guide, there are common key terms that will be used. We will define a few of the common terms in this section. OSR. OSR is an acronym for Ontario Student Record. It is a record of a student's academic achievement and related information such as report cards. Students and parents and/or recognized caregivers have the right to request access to and copies of this personal student information. That includes access to an office index card with contact numbers and biographical data, the individual education plan for the student, additional information identified as being conducive to the improvement of the instruction of the student, including any form of assessments. IPRC is an acronym for Individual Placement Review Committee. The IPRC committee must have at least 3 people, one of whom must be a school principal or a board supervisory officer, as well as a selection of experts such as the special education resource teacher, the child's classroom teacher, an agency representative who may provide further information or clarification. Review by this committee can be initiated by a student's parent who expresses concern that their child has learning challenges that require support. The written request is made to the principal, who then starts the process. This review process includes consideration whether a child meets the criteria of an exceptional student, and this must be supported by psychological assessments conducted by the school board. Identification of the special education needs of the student, recommending the type of placement for instruction based on the special education exceptionality. The committee then invites the parent, and hopefully the student if they are at an age of understanding, and possibly a parent advocate, to a follow-up meeting to review the recommendations regarding special education placement. IEP is an acronym for Individual Education Plan. An IEP is the school's written plan of action for the special education student and is created out of the recommendations from the IPRC. An IEP outlines the areas of strengths and needs to ensure the student's success and provides a method of evaluation and a monitoring cycle. The principal ensures that the parent and student is consulted in the development and review of the student's IEP. A copy of the IEP is provided to the parents for their approval upon its completion. Some of the strategies and resources included within an IEP can include the following: specific accommodations, human and material resources, teaching strategies required by the student, intensity of that support, and who is responsible. While an IEP can be created without the time constraints of an IPRC, it is not binding without the IPRC process. This could be problematic if and when a child changes schools. All of these terms can be further explored on the Ministry of Education's website under Special Education. Lastly, we are going to explore the term accommodations versus modifications. For a student with a learning disability, accommodations are intended to bridge the gap regarding academic difficulties with grade-level curriculum, where modifications for a student with a learning disability would have the student working below the range of their abilities. Furthermore, accommodations do not change what the student is expected to learn. It does change how the content is taught, how the content is assessed, or how it is made accessible. Accommodations ensure the objectives of the course or activity are at grade level. Now, modifications. Modifications made for students with learning disabilities in the early years may be utilized for the short term. The intention here would be to have the young student develop confidence with a set timetable of how to reintegrate the student into grade level work. Modifications do change what the student is expected to learn. It also changes how the content is taught, made accessible, or assessed, but the objectives are not at grade level. I hope this section has provided you with a greater understanding of common terms used throughout this topic. Now let us look at the roles and responsibility for each: the parents, the teacher, the special education teacher, and the school principal. When each person has an understanding of their role and responsibility, we can continue to work together to foster student success through a shared solution approach. In dealing with conflict, there is a communication protocol, a chain of command of sorts. The first individual a parent should advocate to on their child's behalf would be the teacher, then the special education teacher, and lastly, the principal. We will first begin by talking about the roles and responsibilities of parents. For parents, they can begin to participate in IPRC and IEP meetings, become acquainted with the school staff who work with the student, and support the student at home, and they are responsible for the student's attendance at school. Now that you have an understanding of your role as a parent, let us look at the teacher's roles and responsibility. The teacher works with the special education teacher to acquire and maintain up-to-date knowledge of special education practices. Where appropriate, they develop the IEP with special education staff and parents for the student with special education needs. They provide the program for the student with special education needs in the regular classroom, and the teacher communicates the student's progress to parents. We must also consider the roles and responsibilities of the special education teacher. The special education teacher has the same responsibilities as the teacher, but his or her role also includes the following: monitors the student's progress with reference to the IEP, and assists in providing educational assessments for exceptional students. Lastly, let's look at the school principal's roles and responsibility. The school principal communicates ministry and board policies and procedures about special education to staff, students, and parents. ensures that the identification and placement of exceptional students through an IPRC is done according to the procedures. For a more extensive list of roles and responsibilities, please refer to the Ministry of Education's Shared Solutions Guide, pages 43 through 46. Before we move ahead with our next module, let's see how you define a conflict. You will need a pen and paper for this activity. The first part of this activity requires that you write down 6 words that come up for you when you think of the word conflict. These words can be a synonym, a metaphor, a noun, a verb, adjective, adverb, your choice. It's what comes up for you when you think of conflict. Simply take a moment to write down those 6 words. We will revisit this activity in an upcoming module.